So what we got here is revolutionary in my opinion, because it just looks good. I mean, look at these lines, this design. This looks like a Formula One racer compared to these older Canons, right? I mean, this body here hasn't changed in, gosh, I don't know, 15 years or so. So this is nice, fresh, new, modern look for Canon. Now, was this worth the wait? Obviously better late than never. So this is the first of Canon full-frame mirrorless camera. Judging by what the specs are in this camera, you can find out all the specs online. I'm not going to talk about all the specs. I don't even know all the specs. Anyway, this shares a sensor from 5D Mark IV, and in some ways it seems a little better than 5D Mark IV, and in some, maybe not so much, but it's mostly 5D Mark IV in a mirrorless body. Lacking a joystick here and some buttons on the left side, but what they give you is articulating screen. So let's look at the outside here. And I'm really glad Canon chose to build a bigger body, unlike the Sonys. Sonys still feel just like a little cramped and too small. Even with the Mark III series, the body still feels too small. I mean, look at my gigantic hands, like, yeah, I'm just basically, yeah, I do like bigger bodies. Obviously, when you slap a lens this big on it, what's the point of a small body? So I'm really glad Canon thought of that. One feature missing from the pro level DSLRs from Canon is that this doesn't have a joystick. Instead, it's replaced by this and the jog wheel, some multifunction lenses. What I do really like with Canon is their implementation of the touchscreen. I find myself that the more I use these cameras, the more and more menus and the features and adjustments I do just on a touchscreen. It's just faster and more natural. Obviously, this is a mirrorless camera, which means that there's no mirror to bounce the signal back to Optical Viewfinder. Now, the viewfinder in here is obviously digital, but it is really, really sharp, really bright, and it's fast, like really, really fast and accurate. So I gotta tell you, I'm a little biased. I've been a Canon shooter for about, I don't know, 15, 17 years, ever since the, probably 15 years, ever since the 5D came out, the original 5D. So this just feels natural in my hand, and I just really, really like it. So let's look at the outside some more. All right, so over here we have access for HDMI and USB 3.0 port, which is nice. The camera does charge through this port. We have a remote connector, and then we have a microphone and a headphone jack. Something my 6D is missing. I actually got the 6D for video because I really like Canon focus, but there's no way to monitor the audio. So this is a super welcome change, and in the near future I would be upgrading from a 6D to this, just because I can monitor the audio. There have been instances where I recorded video with no audio, and in this situation I could have redone it, but in some situation it's really, really, really bad if you miss the audio. Now, flip out LCD. That's a major feature for me. I cannot live without the LCD that's articulating. I want to be able to see myself if I'm blogging. I also want to be able to shoot high or shoot low without breaking my back. I have sciatica, so it's really hard for me to go into weird positions. You know, in the old days, if you want to do a low shot, you had to like lay on the ground, look up. Now it's just real easy. Flip this out, boom, done. So that's a great feature. There's room only for one SD card. Obviously 2's better, but it's not twice as good. I gotta give it to them. They had to like put some features into the more expensive models. For $2,000 or $2,300, sensor image quality. This thing shares the same sensor as 5D Mark IV, same noise characteristics. It can go from 100 ISO to 100,000 ISO. Native is from 100 to 40,000. Which is just insane. You can shoot pictures in complete darkness with the fast lens. 4K. So obviously Canon skimped out a little bit on a 4K. Crop factor's big, but with this mirrorless, you have a workaround with the crop factor. You can put on the lens adapter. So what I have here is the lens adapter, and this thing is mounted to a APS-C or crop factor lens. So this here, you practically eliminate the crop factor. So if you have APS-C lenses, crop factor in 4K doesn't matter anymore. Alright, so you can shoot this, and these lenses are actually cheaper and smaller. And if you struggle with focus, there might be a little bit of a, it reduces depth of field, so it gives you more focus. Now caveat is, obviously you're not using the full frame, only using a small part of the sensor, but it is a very good workaround. So what I'm thinking what Canon will do, they'll probably release like a $3,000 to $4,000 camera that can shoot 4K 60 with the full frame, full readout. I don't know, that's just in my head. I haven't heard anything about it, so who knows when or how. Now 1080, we seem to be stuck at 60p again. I wish we had at least 90 so I could do a 3 times slow-mo. This camera can go up to 120 but only in 720p, which is like, gosh, it's like a 1/8 of the quality of 4K. So, and I wish they included some faster options here. Frames per second. So in a single AF mode, and up to now it's only in a single AF mode, this can shoot up to 8 frames per second. If you change the modes, I think it goes down to 5 frames per second. So focus. The greatest thing about this camera is the focus, and also another greatest thing is the color. So focus and color are the greatest attributes of this camera. I find that I can just shoot this and deliver and not have to play with any color corrections or anything like that. Picture, I really love the Canon colors. Picture comes out great straight out of the camera. Might have to tweak a little bit of exposure. Canon C-Log is available. If you really want to play with the colors or whatnot. But I find for YouTube blogging or whatnot, I just want to shoot and deliver really quick. I don't want to be slowed down by technology. I just want to shoot, edit, deliver, and I want to do it fast. So question comes up, who is this camera for? Is it to complement your current line of Canon gear, or is it for somebody who's starting out? And I actually think it's for both. If I own a DSLR, actually this can use all of the lenses that you currently own from Canon. You just have to get an adapter, and I think they offered like 4 different adapters. Just from a straight adapter, which is $100, to this adjustment wheel multi-point adapter, to a drop-in filter adapter or a polarizing adapter. So they range in price between like $100 to $400, which is actually not too bad. And they give you full functionality of your old Canon lenses. Obviously these new lenses have the USM stepper motor, which is ultra silent, and you cannot hear it when focusing during video. That's awesome, and that's why I think this lens is also bigger to house all the motors, like it seems a little thicker. So why is this camera better than 5D Mark IV for video? Just it has the same sensor, has a better codec, similar crop factor, but the crop factor can be fixed, like I mentioned before, with the use of a lens adapter. And this way you have access to APS-C lenses, so if you do want to shoot wide, you just shoot wide, that's not a problem. If you do buy a 50mm lens, that 50mm can work as an 80mm portrait lens. So maybe in some instances, actually, that could be an advantage. Obviously, it's a little pain in the butt to kind of add adapters and work with different lenses, but it's actually a very decent workaround. And you just have to see if this camera just kind of fits your workflow. My first impressions are really, really positive. I even like the strap loops, the way they designed the strap loops. It looks to me like they had a totally different camera body designer than their legacy one. I mean, it just looks like a fast Italian car compared to these old bodies. So in conclusion, I do think this camera is great. It has a good position. Price, they could have priced it a little bit more aggressively. But then again, I think if you're a Canon shooter, this isn't so much to pay for some of the features it offers. Is this gonna get replaced by a new camera in 1 or 2 years? Probably not directly at this price point, but I think at a higher price point. So if this offers the features you need now, I wouldn't wait and I would just buy it. Otherwise, just wait and see what else is out there. So I want to thank you for watching this video. Please comment and share. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like about this. Also, I'm going to be recording a couple more shots of showing you the focusing speeds or the color accuracy or whatnot. Just straight full auto shots without any touch-ups uploaded to YouTube, okay? All right, thank you so much. Peace.